What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about a Crash Bash remake. I'm going to be pleading my case. I'm going to be talking about Crash Bash, and I'm going to be talking about why I truly believe it needs to be the next remake. Kind of talk about the future of Crash as well. But first, I want to kind of just promote ourselves, promote the channel. If this is the first time you guys are watching the video, we are giving away Crash Team Racing on the channel, at least for a significant amount of time from when this video first goes up. So go check out our channel. We're giving away Team Racing. We're going to have a ton of videos on Team Racing, and this is one of those. Now, yesterday, I talked about Crash Bash. I have a series, Gamescast Now. It's where I talk about games, and I talked about what makes Crash Bash an amazing game. It's kind of a reoccurring segment where I talk about what makes blank game amazing. I talked about Crash Bash. And this video, again, to follow that up, this is a video I've been wanting to make for years. For literally years, ever since the Insane Trilogy came out, and I never did it. And then once this was announced, and this became a thing, I had planned it literally back in December, and I said, you are going to make a video. I'm talking to myself here. You're going to make a video on Crash Bash. You're going to make a video when Crash Team Racing comes out as to why Crash Bash needs to be the next remake. And here we are. And again, you can go watch the video yesterday for what I talked about with Crash Bash, because I gloated all about it. I talked about my memories, basically, and my experience with that game. And here's the thing. This is the perfect time. This is the only time that we can get a Crash Bash remake. And let me also start off by saying, I know that if this video does well and people watch it, I'm sure I'm going to see so many people say how bad Crash Bash is and how it's not worth it, and I'm in the minority. I kind of know that. I know that there's not a lot of people that I think will support me, but I have a dying passion for Crash Bash. I love that game. It was one of my most played games, really, of all time. When I was growing up, again, as a kid, I didn't play that many games. I jumped in late. Crash was like my #1 game, franchise, really, even. I played those Crash games that were in the Insane Trilogy. I played Team Racing. I played Crash Bash. Crash Bash, in my opinion, is the best of all of those games. It's the most fun I had. It's the game I played to death until I started playing like Sly Cooper. I played the Kingdom Hearts games back in the day. I played a lot of those PS2 kind of games. And Crash Bash is just so special, and, going to the time period now, yes, I see that it had some problems, okay? I understand that. But I feel like all of those party games are all subject to a lot of missteps. Even the Mario Party games nowadays, yes, you look at them and you say, every new one, right? There was a Mario Party game that just kind of released, in November and October, right? These games get better each time. And to be honest, I always consider Mario Party a joke. I don't think, in terms of reviewing-wise, people never really love those games. The review scores of those games were never high. Even people that actually bought the game, never really high up on lists. You look at all of Nintendo's amazing franchises, Zelda, just the normal Mario games, like, Odyssey was the last one, but you go back, any of the Mario games, Super Mario Maker you can even talk about. They have so many. Mario Kart, I mean, a lot of these games are Mario, but you have all these franchises, and you don't really think of Mario Party at the top quality-wise. Now, it's a social party game. It's a game that you play with friends. It's a game that you invite them over, and is that really true? Well, if I'm having my friends over, I'm probably going to play Smash, or I'm going to play Mario Kart before I play Mario Party. But you get the point, right? That's the point of Mario Party, is this co-op game, being able to play with lots of different people and having just hundreds of mini games. Does Crash Bash really hold up to that? Well, not really. It's got, 5 mini games, 5 or 6 mini games. And the point is, it just keeps changing backgrounds and it changes, settings. But, I just have so many fond memories, and I really, really thought that they were very unique. I really thought that they were really awesome back in the day, all the mini games that you could do. And, if you see it, what could it become now? Would they have to add more? I feel like they could. What's stopping them from remaking the original Crash Bash, the 1996 or 99 or 2000, I don't honestly even remember what year this game came out in, but you can remaster it, or you can remake it from the ground up, I should say, and you build it just like you did Crash Team Racing, just like you did Insane Trilogy, and you can add mini-games to it. You can add characters, and we know that, they would definitely add characters. Look, you can't have it come out and have you play as 8 to 10 characters. You look at Team Racing has 25 characters, and it has quite a bit of maps. It's got a lot of maps, because they were pulling it from a lot of different games. There was Crash Bash, and there was also like a 2006 or 2007 kind of spin-off game, Crash game, that honestly, I talked about in yesterday's video too, it looks terrifying. If you look up the video, it was like crash, boom, bang, or something crash, something like that, and it looks terrifying. I mean, maybe you can take some stuff from that and remake it as well. Or you could just add new stuff. I mean, there's nothing stopping these studios that do these remakes from coming up with their own content. If they get Activision's approval, if they get the approval to be able to remake a game of the past in the property of Crash Bandicoot, the property of Crash in general, property of Crash Bash, what's stopping them from making 5 or 10 new mini games? I mean, look, I understand game development is tough. I understand that every single game ever developed, I mean, I would never be able to do it. I'm not an artist. I'm not a programmer. I'm not any of this stuff. I understand it's difficult. I would assume remaking Crash Bash would be by a mile the easiest of the remakes of the three, of Crash Team Racing, Crash Insane Trilogy, and Crash Bash. I feel like it would easily be the easiest to do, and it would be the quickest to do. So they could make up their own stuff, make up your own mini games, make up your own things. There is a story in that game. There are plenty of actual, again, there's a lot of settings. I think there's like 5 sets or 6 sets of settings, and there's like 5 or 6 mini games. So there's like 30 in all, but introduce like 3 new ones and then have different settings for that. What's stopping you? And again, it's like a $30, $40 game. You can put it out. At this point, and you know, I'm petitioning for Crash Bash. I want a Crash Bash remake, right? This is honestly their last shot, because I feel like, and I talked about this 2 years ago when we covered the Insane Trilogy when it came out as well, this is still, I fully believe, testing. They're testing if people like these games now versus if they liked it back then. And we know that they sold well, and we know that they're icons back in the day. This has to be leading to a new Crash game, a brand new, from the ground up Crash Bandicoot game. Just like this Spyro Reignited trilogy is 100% testing, do people still like Spyro? Do they? You know, let's put out the 3 big games that people bought back in the day. Do people like it? Yes, if they do, then we'll give you a brand new Spyro game. That is 100%. I'm just telling you guys, that's what they're doing. That's what all these are. Now, Crash Team Racing, it's such a different game than the Insane Trilogy that it's like, well, maybe we can get a new racing game and a new just regular Crash game. They can do that. These are all just tests to see if people still like it. And, you know, I'm recording this the day the game comes out. The video is going up on Sunday, 2 days after the game is out, so I doubt we have sales figures yet, but the Insane Trilogy sold amazing. The Spyro Trilogy sold amazing. So these games are selling like hotcakes. There's only one of 2 things that I think comes of this is one more remake, and it could be Crash Bash. I mean, yeah, there are other Crash games they could pull from, but I really feel like Crash Bash is that third big one. You know, the game that a lot of people know of that is kind of looked at as that, you know, weaker game that not as many people support and is much more risky, I think, to make, but it's still there, and it's still a very important part of Crash. They could either do that, and they could either do one more remake of that, or they can make a brand new Crash. Next gen consoles kind of spice things up and make me kind of lean towards maybe a brand new Crash, because it's like, all right, Team Racing, it comes out now. Next year, next fall, we're going to get a brand new console, right? PS5, Xbox Scarlet. We're going to get the next generation. Do you want a Crash Bash remake on that, like in 2 years? Because these are coming out every 2 years. I mean, that's just the history of the last 2 games of this. So you got to be looking at summer, June of 2021. Would you rather have a Crash Bash remake, or would you rather have, still within the first 12 months of the next generation consoles being out, a brand new Crash game? I mean, if you think about it, if the consoles come out in October or November of next year, within 7-8 months, you'd be having another Crash game. And it could either be a remake of an old game, or it could be a brand new game. Which one do you think people would buy? I feel like it'd be that new game, right? And it would just be kind of spicier, just be something that I think people would look forward to more. Like, here's your brand new console, and here is a brand new game. Because of the success of these remakes, we are now able, and we now have proven to ourselves that we can make a brand new Crash game, and we know people will buy it. I feel like that's what they've always been testing for, and I don't know if a Crash Bash remake fits in that. Same thing with a Spyro game. You'd think like this is where they're moving. However, we are, and so that's the negative. That's going against my vision, because I want a Crash Bash remake. I would petition for the remake remake first. That's against it. For it, though, is where we are in the gaming world. We're in a world of remakes. This is the last 2 years, I think ever since the Insane Trilogy, this has been a gaming industry of remakes, and they've just done so well. Spyro, Crash, Resident Evil, Shadow of the Colossus, and so many more. Medieval coming out in the fall. There's a lot of these remakes happening, and they're all selling amazing. They are all really well done and are capturing the energy of the original game while just making it better in every single way, not just looks, but just overall like improving the quality. This is really what the gaming industry, remember the remaster phase that went on in the last gen consoles where every single game known to man was getting a remaster? It's doing it again. They're remaking games, and this is honestly better, and I would more support remakes than what I would have supported back in the day with remasters, because I think they are doing a really good job at remaking these games. So yes, it would make more sense to make a brand new Crash, and I think it would sell well. I think they could sell it well in terms of like talking about it. But at the same time, we're in an industry in an age where so many developers are doing these remakes, and I feel like it's less risk required if you remake an old game because you have that old game, you know people once bought it, you know people may want it again, versus making a brand new game. So you'd have to look at the logistics of it and say, well, is it more likely that we'd sell really well a brand new Crash, which we have to put so much work and so much resources in because we have to completely make a new game, and do we want to make a racing game, or do we want to make a game like the Insane Trilogy with those kind of like how you play as Crash? But then there's also, you know, there's the water scenes where you're riding on like the water board and all that kind of stuff. Like, do we want to do those kind of things? You know, like how do we do it, or what are we gonna pick? That's very risky. Or do we make a Crash Bash remake, which is kind of safe in a way? You know, again, I said earlier, it's risky because it's the weakest of those 3 games. But, you know, to them, maybe it's not. Maybe it's a safer bet because it's like, well, we already have it. We just have to we do the same thing we did the last 2 times. Our studios are good with that. They know how to do it. It would be easier. It would be very safe. And I think it would probably sell. So it's a balancing act. So I feel like it very well could happen. Again, I want it to happen, but it's very debatable on if it will. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? What do you think about my plea? Do you think we'll get a Crash Bash remake next, or do you think we'll get a brand new Crash game next? Let me know. Make sure you guys, again, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon. Again, we're giving away Crash Team Racing. We got a lot of Crash Team Racing videos going up over this next week. Very, very excited for those, and I hope to see you guys there.